Okay, in this section, we've got another guest speaker, David Price, who specialises in buying properties below market value. Now, as an investor, it's very important you buy below market value. We all understand the long-term value and how property increases. But if you can buy below market value, the day you buy, you make a profit. So it's a much smarter way to do it. As we've already seen with Doug, if you buy below value, you can refinance, get all your money out. You've got your deposit available to go and buy another one now. So that's very much the way to do it. So any further ado, I'd like to introduce David Price.
Good afternoon. My name's David Price from Price Property, and I'm going to tell you how to buy properties 20% below market value. Anybody want to buy property 20% below market value? Yay, yay, yay! First question, why?
You make a profit immediately.
You do make a profit immediately, but if you could buy it for 10% below market value, you'd still make a profit, wouldn't you?
Not as much.
Not as much, it's true. What about buying it 30% below market value? So why 20%? Why am I talking about 20%?
It's got to be realistic.
Very good point. This process works with buying stuff 10%, 20%, 30% below market value. To buy it 30% below market value is fantastic. In reality, you'd be able to get 10 deals at 20% compared to one deal at 30%. Buying below 20%, if you can pick something up at 10%, great. The idea, as Doug was saying beforehand though, is actually refinancing it. Because you can get a mortgage with a 15% deposit, if you can buy stuff 20% below value, you've got that 5% that you can pull out, cover your costs, and you go and buy another property. And another one, and another one. And that's the quickest and easiest way of building a portfolio. So, give you my background first of all. Before I started doing this full time, I was a Lloyd's underwriter specialising in property. One of my clients was the Duke of Westminster, who just happens to own a couple of 100 acres of land. That's all. Happens to be in Mayfair, which makes him the third richest man in the country. That got me thinking. My first buy-to-let property wasn't a buy-to-let property at all. It was a flat that I lived in. I relocated and rented it out. Worked quite well, bought a few other properties. Always bought them locally because you know the area where you live, you're more comfortable with that. About 5 years ago, made some money here, released some capital and decided to really go for it. So I did what you guys are doing. I paid £2,500 to come to a seminar like this and learn how to buy property. And I went and bought some property. Spent a long time analysing where I wanted to buy. I decided I wanted to buy in the North East for various reasons we'll come into later. I've now got a portfolio of 50 properties. Run my own letting agency to look after the management of those properties. I've got a full-time maintenance crew as well looking after them. And I'm now at the point I actually buy property, refurbish it, put a tenant in, and then sell it on to investors as armchair investments. During that time though, so the reason I've been able to do that and build a property portfolio that large is by buying 20% below market, so you can refinance and just keep buying. So, got a lot to get through, so I'm going to try and cram 5 years experience into about an hour and a half. So any questions, just shout out as we go, and we'll see how we get on. So I'll quickly run through the agenda. Preparation, before you go out to try and find these deals, what you need to put in place. What actually are motivated sellers? Motivated sellers, I hate the term, I don't use it at all, but it just seems to be the industry standard to call them motivated sellers. How do you find these people? Once you've actually found them, how do you get them to come and talk to you? How do you actually agree a deal with them? How do you finance it? On that point, I only just caught the end of Doug's presentation, and there's some bits in that I'm like, oh, that's clever, I didn't know you could do that. So one thing you're always constantly learning, so I might skip through the finance bit quite quickly after him. And the big thing is ensuring the deal actually happens. Very important, but a lot of people seem to miss that part of it. So, the preparation. Know yourself. Might sound a bit new age-ish, but how much time have you got to put into this? How much money have you got to put into this? How motivated are you? Do you want to get your hands dirty doing this? Yeah? These are all questions you need to know the answers to before you even start. When I started, I had all these great ideas. Right, I want to go and do this. I want to buy these properties. I had a full-time job. I didn't have the time to go and find places. In the end, I actually employed somebody full-time to work for me to go and find these deals. Yeah, so whatever works. I wanted to do the property, but didn't have the time. So how else can I actually do it? Yeah. Where should you invest? Now, this is massively important to me anyway. I invest 2 hours drive from where I live. It's a pain in the arse. But I invest in an area where I think I'm going to get absolutely fantastic capital growth. It's proved right in the past, and the research we've done again proved right in the future. I like the area, the North East, because it's low entry levels. If I've got a £500,000 portfolio of properties, I'll prefer it to be 7 or 8 properties rather than 1 or 2, because I'm spreading my risk. I want a property that I buy to cover all its costs with the rental income. Yeah, much easier when you're buying properties at sort of £60,000, £70,000 than £250,000. By your very nature, you guys are going to be relatively successful people just by being in this room. So I'd actually challenge the view that where you live is actually the best place to invest. Yeah, you can invest locally, or you can invest further afield. It depends how you want to do it, what are you actually after. Again, the reasons I say we're investing in the North East, because the property I think is still underpriced. One of the key considerations I use is salaries should be in line with housing prices. If you look at an area, say like Birmingham, average house prices about 89% or so of the UK average. The average salary in Birmingham is about 93% of the UK average, so it's about balanced. If you look in central London, SW1, property prices, salaries are around 140% of the national average, so you'd expect to be higher earners there. Property prices are 280% of the national average. Tells me it sounds slightly overinflated. The areas what I invest in, average salary is about 87%. The average property price is 45% of the UK average. So it could double overnight and still be affordable as in the rest of the country. Yeah? Is your area going to give you those benefits? If not, what areas will? Not saying necessarily the North East, do your own research, find out what areas you want to go for, but don't automatically go for what's local. To the fact that this getting stuff cheap, if you bought a property, this is where I turn around to my flip chart that's not there. If you want to scribble some notes down on this, I'll try and always use an example of a property value being 100,000 just to make things easy. So say you can buy a property valued at £100,000 in your local area. Yep. But you buy it for £80,000 because you use some of the techniques we tell you here. But it's not a fantastic capital growth area. So say you get 5% capital growth on that. In 5 years' time, what do you think that property would be worth? 5% compound interest over 5 years is about 127,000. Yeah, does that sound about right? Yeah, because it's compounded. So you made £27,000 capital growth. You bought it below market value. You made 20,000 as you made £47,000. Fantastic. What if you bought in a different area where you had great capital growth? If you bought in an area where you had 10% capital growth, even if you didn't buy that property cheap, if you bought that property at 100,000, the capital growth you'd have over 5 years, if you could get a 10% capital growth, would actually give you a property then worth 162,000. So you'd actually make more money by buying a property in a very good capital area without getting a discount for it. You can't do the refinancing so cleverly and so quickly and so easily, but just bear in mind area is vitally important for you. Just a point on this, I don't expect everyone to go up and buy properties up in the northeast, but if you do, I'm not the only person who realised it's a good place to buy up there. And there's a lot of dealers that have sprung up selling to investors properties in the local area. I just wanted to show you something because it could save some people a lot of money. I don't know if you ever get emails around properties coming up, we've got this fantastic deal for you. Anybody get anything like that at all in their inbox? Yeah? You ever started looking into these? No? It's quite a standard sort of property that comes around. It's in County Durham, it's an area I invest in. It's got great capital growth in County Durham. Great. Value £50,000. Check that out. Use net house prices. Confirm you've got a right price for it. You've got the rent. Look on Rightmove. Find out what properties are renting for. Yeah, it all stacks up. Mortgage. It's based on a 5% mortgage, 85% loan to value, interest only. Yeah, that all works out. Profit, you're going to have to use a letting agent for it, but you're still going to clear £100 a month. Looks a pretty good investment, really, doesn't it? Yeah, would you agree? Good investment? Yeah, we'd buy that. Would we even go and have a look at it? 90% of investment property sold in the northeast is sold unseen. Yeah. It's 50 grand. Do you really need to go all the way out to the northeast to buy a property for 50 grand? Sod it, you just buy it. Maybe you should go and have a look at it. This is our house. This is next door. The gas meters, they always seem to disappear. Different angle, same street. I don't know if you can see that. That's our house. Next door's boarded up. Next door. Actually, that's the next door. Everything apart from the other one is boarded up. Other side of the street is the same thing. But you check the value, it was worth £50,000, didn't you? Other properties have sold in that street for £50,000 because they're sold to investors who buy stuff unseen. I've got a guy who keeps phoning me up, he's been talking to me for the last 4 months, who's bought a very similar property to this. Can you let it out? And we've driven past it, and you're like, have you seen it? It's half your street's boarded up. It's like, oh God, no, I didn't realise that. I've never been up to look at it. He's gone back to the dealers who he bought the property from. Apparently half my street's boarded up. Oh, it wasn't like that when you bought it. He's actually got 2 properties in an area. Neither of them have been rented for 12 months. Can't rent them out at all. Would you want to live in that street? When I started talking to him, he was, but these got fantastic yields. If you're not getting any rent in at all, how good a yield is it? Yeah? Just be careful, even if you're very, very busy and you are going to invest in a property and use a dealer to invest in a property, go and have a look at it. Yeah? A lot of people have done this. This guy is now about to put his own home on the market because of the money he's losing on his investment properties. Yeah? Be careful. Which leads me on to knowing your area. If you want to buy these properties cheap in your area, or whatever area you decide to invest in, you've got to do your research. You've got to know the agents, you've got to know the streets, you've got to know the bad areas, the good areas, you've got to know the letting agents, and you need to know the letting market. I was told when I went on my seminar that you need to view 50 properties before you buy your first property. Sounds like a lot of work. We actually viewed 100 properties before we bought our first property. Yeah. You need to get to the point where you open a local newspaper, you've got all the estate agent details on there, and deals will just jump out in you in the face. Because you know, Cedar Grove, 95,000. Actually, something that was on that street for sale 3 weeks ago at 115. Then you can find out how much it sold for. Well, that one actually sold for 105. This is 95. Yeah, you've got to really, really know your area like this. Otherwise, I've talked to local dealers, told them what I do. You know, if you find stuff, bring it to me. And they gave me some estate agents' details. I've got this place for 125,000. Right. I can get that to you for 100,000. It's 20% below market. Okay. It's only worth 100 grand anyway. And I now know that his wife works as an estate agent. There's a lot of dodgy in dealing, yeah? And I now know that the local estate agents in my areas I know that guy sells to his cousin, and 3 months later that property will be up in that estate agent's windows. Yeah, if you start doing your research, you'll start doing these patterns. There's no shortcut to it though. Yeah, this is what I mean about the time. If you've got the time to do it, it's fantastic, and you can make a lot of money doing this. You need to get the right team around you before you do anything as well. Mortgage brokers, solicitors, accountants who are just going to come on. Having the right team around you is critical. Your mortgage brokers, your solicitors, they don't have to be local to you at all. Go by recommendation. I'm going to chat to Doug later on from what I've seen of his presentation. But you're also going to need, you're only going to be as good as your weakest link. Yeah? You might be able to buy a property really cheap, get it pushed through quickly because you've got good solicitors, you've got good mortgage brokers. It takes you 6 months to get the buildings work done on it. You've got 6 months, so you're funding the mortgage, you've got no rent coming in. You need that whole team in place to be able to do it. Right. What are motivated sellers? Distressed sellers, some people call them as well, actually. What's a motivated seller? Someone who needs to get quickly? Yeah. Someone who's desperate? Someone who's bankrupt? Yeah, or about to go bankrupt? Yeah. Overall, it's, my view, it's somebody where the price isn't the biggest and most important factor. Could be a speed issue, something like that. That's the common textbook answer. It's someone who needs to sell the property quickly. Has anybody come across the 3 Ds?
Divorce, death and something. Debt? Oh, debt.
Death, divorce and debt. I say this is standard textbook stuff, which is true. Somebody dies, you've got all the kids, just want to sell the property, get their share of the inheritance, and that's it. If you're going to deal with somebody in that situation, one thing you need to make sure is who's the decision maker. If it's the little sister who's showing you around, but it's the big brother who's going to make the decision, you want to be talking to the big brother. Yeah? So just try and find out who's going to make the decision about selling the property to you and get to talk to them. Divorce, yeah, you want to sell the property before you end up killing each other. That's true. A nice morality tale, more of our deals we get for people who are getting married. Because they have 2 houses, they've sold, they move in together, and they've got a house sitting there empty, they pay the mortgage on, just get rid of it quick. Planning for the wedding, I'm more interested in doing that. Debt, standard thing, someone's about to be repossessed, you go in there, offer them a quick deal to stop the repossession, and then they can actually walk away with the deal with some money. I've never actually bought a property yet right on the brink of repossession, but certainly with people who have got themselves into debt. I discovered a few other Ds that I thought we'd share with you, which you might not think of. People just don't like estate agents. Surprised? They had that big TV advert the other week, didn't they, on Foxtons or something, the undercover thing? I loved that. Yeah, some people just won't touch them. So they'll come to us instead. A lot of people don't like the hassle. They know they've got to tidy up when people are coming around to view the properties. If they're going with an estate agent, people don't turn up. People come around, just have a look around the house, and they've got no intention of buying it. People haven't even put their own house on the market yet, and they just too much hassle, just want to sell the place and that's it. And they don't like uncertainty. This is more if somebody is, say, looking to buy another property themselves. Yeah, and they're, well, can I look at a house when I haven't sold mine? And so some people we deal with, well, like, we'll definitely buy your house. You just tell us when you want us to complete. So you can go out there now, and you're virtually a cash buyer, you've got your property sold, and just let us know the completion date you want. Yeah? So there's lots of reasons why people want to sell a property below the market value. Yeah? It's not just the key things, and it's not always just because it has to be quick. So how do you find these people? Obvious one, estate agents. I'm sure, Simon, you bought a lot of property from estate agents. Get to know the local agents, get them to know you're a serious buyer, and I'm sure Simon's got into a lot of detail from that. I haven't bought a property from an estate agent for about 4 years. Again, in my experience, in my area, all the very good deals they'll do among themselves, or their cousin will buy it, or it's all a bit under the table, brown envelopes, and you might get some good deals from them, but the best ones I've always found, they keep for themselves. Could be different in your areas. I say I can only speak from my personal experience. Newspaper ads. Anyone seen in the back of the free papers newspaper ads? Yep, something like, oh, I'm not supposed to do that, am I? Ah, something like that. Have we seen those in the back of your local papers? Yeah? Good idea, bad idea? What do you reckon? Bad idea?
Well, they must be after a deal.
Sorry?
They must be going to be offering you like next to nothing for your property, probably.
I'm sure they'd like to offer you next to nothing, yeah. Absolutely fantastic idea. I didn't think much of it when someone first told me that. That's where we get 90% of our leads from, or especially to start with. Costs about 40 quid a week, and we'll get between 6 and 12 inquiries a month or so from that. They do work. It's not like sex. Size isn't important. That one's my ad, it's the little one. It works. Just one thing on that, people have said they like it because it's got someone's name on it. I would have never thought of that meant something, but we've had a lot of people out saying, oh yeah, I like your advert because it had somebody's name. They work. I didn't think it would. Just got to try it. Has anyone heard of 7-day notices? Anyone know what a 7-day notice is? No? Yeah, exactly. If a property's been repossessed and it's going to be sold on again, legally it has to be advertised that they're going to sell this property to somebody and within 7 days. And they've got to put that notice in the public domain, normally the same sort of place you'll see the other ads for buying property. If it's a repossession, that ad is screaming out saying, we're going to sell this property bloody cheap to somebody, come and buy it off us if you want, and they have to advertise it out. So if you see them in the back of your local papers, keep your eyes open for that. That thing is going to be a cheap property. Yeah?
How's it worded?
7-day notice. It's normally it'll actually say 7-day notice, yeah.
Doesn't it normally have that somebody's already got an offer on it though?
Exactly, yeah. Someone will buy it in 7 days. I don't think they actually have to put the price on it.
I've seen prices on the ones that, you know, next to it saying that there's already an offer on it and if it's
Yeah.
in 7 days. But I don't know if the adverts sometimes go out after it's in 7 days.
That would be very bad if that sort of thing happened, wouldn't it? In theory, these things are fantastic. I've never managed to buy a property from one. Again, there seems to be a lot of brown envelopes involved, and you put offers in that don't always end up with who they should end up, which is all totally legal, but it does happen. They could work for you in your area. They might be worth looking into, but I've never bought a property from one. Direct mail. Does it work? What do we reckon?
No.
No? You don't like anything to work, do you? It's positive mental thought. We've got to know, anyone think it will work? Yeah, he thinks it will work.
I think they do in some areas.
They do in some areas. My experience, I don't know. I've literally just bought a database of 1,200 people, names and addresses in a specific postcode, and I'm just about to mail shot them. So if you want to give me a call in 3 weeks, I'll tell you if they work for us, and I'll even give you a copy of the letter we use in our area. It's all about just trying different things, yeah? I've realised, right, I've only been buying 1 or 2 properties a month. I want to buy 5 or 6 properties a month. How do I do that? I get more leads coming into me. How do I do that? I start playing about with things like direct mail, things like leaflets, literally just leaflet dropping a street, or just leaflet dropping properties that have got for sale signs out the front of them. Postcards, you know, like in Morrison's or newsagent windows. Yeah, this is our ad. We've got a silly little picture. That is all our postcard is. The advertising cost for that is about 15p a week. From one of those postcards, we've just started using those, we got 3 phone calls in a week. Yeah? They seem to be really working for us, and they're dirt cheap. Yeah. Right. So how do you actually attract people to you? These are the sorts of things you're going to be looking to use in your marketing and to persuade someone why they should actually sell a property 20% below what it's worth to you for. What it's worth to you for. Immediate decision. Cash buyer. Speed. A lot of people will be drawn to you because they want to sell in a week, 2 weeks' time. In theory. In practice, most people don't actually need that quicker deal. It's a standing joke with me and my guys that the longer you talk to someone, the cheaper the property will be. And we've had somebody who's come to us because they want to buy the property cheap. We've spent 4 weeks before we actually agreed a price with them, negotiating, and we bought it in 3 weeks. So it's actually taken 7 weeks. And someone's come to us because they want a quick deal. The negotiation can take a long time. Most people don't need a deal as quick as they think. Yeah? They'll tell you that they do, but the more you can talk to them, question them about it, it's, well, as long as we can get it done in a month or so, that's fine. But there's a perception that they want a deal just like that. We've had people when we've gone around there, and they're actually quite disappointed that we haven't got a briefcase full of cash with us. Manage expectations. Another thing, you won't have estate agents' fees if you sell to us, which can be a couple of £1,000s. Again, if one of the motivators is people don't like and don't trust estate agents, which is quite common. There's no chains breakdown. Number of people who hasn't heard of a story, someone's trying to sell their property and the chain breaks down, it's, ugh. Which is where you guys can come in, because you can actually repair that chain. Yeah? We've had somebody, they're about to buy their dream house, but their buyer's pulled out. So they can't buy their dream house, they're going to lose their dream house. So we've got in, look, we'll buy yours so you can still complete on the next one. We've also gone in and said, right, well, we could buy yours so you can buy the next one, but it's not worth that to us, blah, blah, blah. But if we paid you £5,000 less, you could probably negotiate with that other guy and buy his for £5,000 less. So you haven't actually lost any money, have you? Yeah? Just keep your mind open of how you can be flexible and do a deal that actually suits somebody else. Intrusion of your home. A lot of people, as I said before, don't like people coming around, wandering around their house. It's a bit intrusive. It's a big thing to some people, especially if somebody's maybe ill in the house or something like that and they don't want visitors. Guaranteed sale, flexible completion date. This is what I was saying, where somebody's looking to buy another property themselves. They want to know theirs is sold. So I'll buy it, I'll exchange contracts on it, with an open-ended completion date within 2 years. You just give me 2 weeks' notice when you want me to complete. So I've actually locked a price in. It does take them a year to find a house. Prices are going up, but the price is what I've agreed today. So you actually want them to take a long time to go and buy their place. Yeah? But they've got that security that they know they've got a buyer there. Make it totally clear to them that they have to sell that house to you in 2 years' time, though. Yeah? Even if they haven't found anything else tougher, otherwise they're in breach of contract. So be very open with people about what will happen. But if someone's looking to move, they'll normally look to move and they'll get it done. 6 months is probably quite normal, which is nice.
So would you exchange contracts with them? I mean,
Yeah.
just these-
Yeah, so you exchange contracts now. So they're tied in, they've got to sell it to me and I've got to buy it off them. But it means I don't really have to put any money into it. I don't have to buy a mortgage or anything until we actually complete.
And you would give them up to 2 years?
Yeah, people say, oh, well, we'll have our place done in 3 months. Oh, you're not really. And it doesn't make any difference to me if I complete in 6 weeks or 2 years. I'd prefer to actually complete in 2 years' time on it because I'll get the rise in the market. As long as you're confident that market will be good still in 2 years, if you're in an overinflated market and you've got to buy something in 2 years' time, it could have gone down and you could lose out. So be careful with that if you're not absolutely 100% sure that your market you're buying in is going to be increasing. Which is a question, why are you buying in that market then, if you're not 100% sure? Oh, sell and rent back. This is where someone will sell their house to us, and they stay there, and they just rent it back off us. Ever heard of that?
It's quite, I've had it recently.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
I think that's such a good idea.
It's fantastic. Buy it off them. I haven't got any void periods. I don't have to go around looking for tenants. I'm getting rent from day one, as soon as he completes. It's brilliant. And they don't ever normally phone you up to get any maintenance done, because it's their house and they've always done that, so they just carry on doing it. It's brilliant.
Oh, do you tie them into
I'll give them a proper 6-month
just 6 months? I'd quite
AST.
like 6 months.
So
So I wouldn't be, but it's my home. You might, you know.
right, my view on ASTs, a lot of people tell you, oh, we're going to live here for years. Okay, I don't believe them. Normally, if you've got enough trust with that person, say, look, we don't want to sell it, we want to rent it, this property out. So if you do move out, we'll only go and rent it somewhere to somebody else. We're going to rent it to you for the market value. So why would we want to ever get you out? Yeah, you're a perfect tenant for us because you're going to look after the house because it's your home. Yeah, we don't want to kick you out. Unless you stop paying the rent or you breach your tenancy agreement, there's no way we want you to go. Yeah? And because all the time you're going to be building trust and rapport with these guys, to get them on your side because you don't want to sell it. Yeah? Why would you? You want them to stay there. Providing they play ball with you, providing they pay the rents, they are the perfect tenant. We didn't do that. We've only done that over the last 2.5 years. Any idea why not? If it's such a good idea. It's a good idea, isn't it?
It is a good idea.
So why did we do it? Why have we only done it the last couple of years? No?
Is it the change in the laws? Landlords and stuff?
Nope. We didn't tell anybody we did. Never thought about it. Now, most of our adverts will put on there that you can sell and rent back, but because no one had heard of it, nobody had asked us, so we never told anybody we did it. So stupid and basic as that. Let people know the different options.
What type of person generally does that? Is there a type,
Is there a type of person? Very good question. We've had a guy, we actually had the Lord Mayor of Shildon, who just got divorced from his wife. He wanted to keep the house. She'd moved out. He needed to give her some cash. So he sold the house to us to release the equity to pay her off. Got another guy in his 50s. He's got all this cash tied up in my house and I just want a bit of cash and enjoy myself a bit. Did he need to have completion done within 14 days? No, as long as it's in the next month or so. Rents it back. Brilliant. Yeah. But tell people you do it. Simple. Confidentiality, especially on the sale and rent back. People don't necessarily want their neighbours to know they've got financial difficulties. Why are you selling? Why have you got a big estate agent board up there? But this is all nice and comfortable. Nobody needs to know about it. All totally confidential. We do a free, no commitment valuation. So we'll go around, see the person's house, talk to them, what sort of deal do you want. There's no cost at all to that. I don't know if you've heard of Home Buyers, the home buying company. There's an organisation that will buy your property for you. You have to pay them a valuation fee, then they get a valuation done, and then they'll give you an offer on your house. So you pay them 300 quid to get your property valued, then they'll send you an offer you about half of what it's worth. The valuations are drive-by valuations, they don't even go in the house. It costs the company 50 quid to get those valuations done. Do they ever buy a house for half of what it's worth? They don't bloody need to, because they make 250 quid on every valuation. And these guys are advertising in the daily press. You look in the Daily Mail, the Daily Express. To me, those are the sorts of guys that should be closed down. But they're not doing anything illegal. Yeah. We offer a no-hassle, friendly and flexible service. And that is the key to the whole thing. You're there as a problem solver. Yeah? You're offering a service. You'll charge people 20% or so of the value of their property. So if some things seem a lot of hassle or pain or difficult. That's exactly what you're there for. That's how you add value. We had a guy, it's quite a long story, but he shagged somebody in the street that he shouldn't have. The locals all turned against him. He had kids breaking into his house. We had to board his house up. We had to take him and move him into a bed and breakfast. He was completely skint, so we had to pay for the bed and breakfast for him. We had to give him beer money every couple of days. We had to go and get all his gear from his house and take it to him. And we haven't got anything to confirm that this property, we're going to be able to buy it. We spent about £2,000 before the deal went through. It was messy, it was time consuming, it was a pain. It was a property we made £20,000 on. Yeah, that's what you do. If it's hassle, that's what you're there for. Yeah, don't expect it all to be easy, but just remember what sort of money you can make out of this. So creating the deal. First contact is normally always by telephone, we find. We've got a website, but I've never had anybody approach us via the website. Silly things. Are you going to use a local number or are you going to use a mobile number? A local number looks a lot better than a mobile number, doesn't it? In the area we work in, we've got a local number that goes straight to a mobile, but it gives the impression that you're local. And it's a nice number, 48, 48, 46. It's a nice, easy local number. If you're going to do that, if you're going to use your mobile, what's your answer message say? You're through to the orange answering Met Network for it. Professional, you want a decent quality image. When people first phone you up, is it going to be worth going to see them? Yeah, you want to pre-vet it a little bit, otherwise there's a lot of people who'll phone you up who are complete time wasters. Yeah, accept it, it's going to happen. Is there property on the market at the moment? What sort of money is it up for at the moment? What sort of price are you really actually after for it? If someone's got it up at the moment for 125,000 and they won't take a penny below 123,000, well, that probably is not going to be one for us. So, well, thanks for the phone call, but I don't really think we're going to be able to structure a deal here. Yeah? If someone's got it on the market, well, it's up for 100,000 at the moment, but it's been on the market for 6 months and I haven't had any viewings, that might be worth a chat to go and see them. Yeah? And again, because of your preparation, you know the area, so when they tell you the street, oh, this is just around the back of the fish and chip shop, isn't it? Yeah, you know the area then. Yeah. When can you get here? Oh, a week on Sunday? No, it's 4 o'clock now. I can probably be around there for 5 o'clock. What do you think is going to give the better image? Who do you think they're going to trust more? We've had deals accepted which we've put in £10,000 below deals, offers people have had from other dealers. Yeah? Because of the way we structure the deal and because at the end of the day, they like us. You do exactly what you say you're going to do. You do it well, you do it professionally. When you go and view the property, you're going to know, you're going to have a very good idea of the value of the property before you go there, because you already know the streets. As soon as they tell you the street, you'll have an idea of what's already been sold on there, and you'd already done your comparables looking on net house prices. You've got an idea of the pricing. When you go to the property though, first of all, get there on time, be smart, shake hands with people. We won't go from the hallway to the living room without being asked. You don't sit down without being asked. You compliment people's homes. It's a lovely house. It's awful wallpaper. It's a fantastic property, yeah? Biggest thing I can say of that is being respectful to people, yeah? It's their property, and if you go in there and quick, yeah, right, we'll give you 80 grand for it. Spend time, have a cup of coffee with them, sit down, have a chat, yeah? Get to know their grandchildren's names. If it takes you 4 hours, it takes 4 hours. You miss EastEnders, tough. You can potentially make 20 grand out of this deal. The areas you might be buying in, you might be buying £250,000 properties. You can make 50,000 quid. Don't try and rush getting in and out of the property. Talk to them. Find out what's important to them. Is it speed? How important is that speed to them? Why do you need to sell it so quickly? Is it just knowing that they've got the sale so they can buy another property? And again, we've actually helped people, as I said before, when a chain breaks down, or even someone oh yeah, I was looking to buy this house, it's 150, so I can't let mine go for anything less than 90. A lot of the general public don't know that you can make offers on new build property if they're looking to buy a new house. They don't know you can make an offers to builders. I mean, it seems very basic to you guys now, but a lot of the general public won't do that. A lot of the general public won't make an offer less than 5% of asking price. Just tell them, well, why don't you offer $5,000 less? Oh, I don't know, you can do that. Yeah, you can actually, we do it quite a lot. Again, if you can help them buy their next property cheaper, they don't need so much money off you. Yeah, so you're creating that win-win solution. And it's more important than anything what will work for them. Yeah, because there's no point in you just knowing that you want to spend you want to buy this for 80 grand. What works for them? How can you structure it for them? What's important to you? Obviously, you want to know any works that are going to need to be done to the property, how much that's going to cost, will it let out, what sort of rent will it let out. You'll have an idea of all the figures, but it must work for the individual who's the client. And you're looking to design a win-win solution. We'll sit down with people, we'll go through all the advantages of selling with us, of selling to us. We'll also go through all the disadvantages of selling to us, which is we won't give you full market value. Apart from that, we'll be fantastic. We'll tell them we'll get a survey done on the property, because we're not surveyors. We're not going to come back in 2 weeks' time and say, oh, well, the surveyor says a bit of damp, so we're going to offer you £2,000 less. Once we agree a price, we stick to that price. The only times we have pulled out of something is where there's been subsidence, something major. Yeah? But again, you're always trying to build that reputation. I've actually paid more for a property than I know I could have got it for, because I'm concerned about my reputation in that area. I don't want to rip the skin off somebody's back. If I can get it at the right fair price, we'll do it. We've negotiated with old people where we could have taken advantage of them. Don't. I like to sleep at night and I like to run a nice, respectable business. I could have got something £5,000 cheaper. When they actually completed the deal, they bought us a bottle of scotch. Yeah? It's that reputation. They're going to be telling people, oh, we met these really nice guys and they bought our house for us and all went through really nice and quick. Yeah? You'll get more referrals, so don't be down on every single penny. Finance. After the other presentation, I'm not sure how much detail I'm going to go into here, but very quickly, easiest way to buy it is cash. Bang. Nice and easy. You might not have 80,000 quid cash. Other alternative, bridging finance. Yeah, bridging finance, expensive but quick. You can normally sort bridging out within a couple of days. Pay generally, if I was to bridge an £80,000 deal, normally say something like a £500 arrangement fee, 1.5% a month interest, so 1,200 quid a month interest, and a month's redemption penalty, so £1,200 redemption. So a month's interest, 1,200, redemption penalty, 1,200, 2,400, 500 quid arrangement fee, £2,900 to borrow that money for 1 or 2 days, or 28 days. 32 days, you paid another 1,200 quid. Yeah? Bridging finance, if you haven't got the cash and the deal does need to go through within a week or two, is the way to go. But you're going to factor that into your price. Yeah? If someone can wait 3 or 4 weeks, you can probably get a standard mortgage for it. If you're using the right mortgage brokers, they'll get a mortgage pushed through quite easily within that sort of time period. All of those options leave you money in the property. You've got to put cash in before you can get it out again. Is everybody, I'm sure this was probably covered before, but the lenders, when they lend 85% on a property, they'll lend at the market value or the purchase price, whichever is the lower. Is everybody comfortable with that? Yes? No? You might have this great property, it's worth 100 grand, their surveyor will come around, value it 100 grand for it, or can you give me an 85,000 mortgage? No. You're buying at 80, we'll lend you 85% of the 80. You go to the next day, can I remortgage it at 100? Oh yeah, it's fine now. You get your money out again. So with all of those, you need to do the remortgage. You've got, the way Doug was saying, how you can refinance the same day. Or what we do quite a lot now is you back-to-back it to yourself. This is getting a little bit advanced. You probably wouldn't do this on your first deal. This is like your Jedi Master tricks. But if I was to buy your house from you, you don't actually sell it to me, you sell it to Simon. Simon buys it, and the same day he sells it to me. So you're selling your house for 80,000 to Simon, and I'm buying that house from Simon for 100,000. So I go to my mortgage company, I'm buying a house for £100,000 off Simon. Can you lend me 85%? Yeah, that's fine. It's getting quite, it's totally legal, it's totally legitimate, and I've done it. You're dealing with 3 different sets of solicitors, because you're dealing with your solicitors. That's a point to mention. If somebody wants to sell the house to you quickly, one of the biggest problems we have is the solicitors they use. If they use a crap solicitor, it takes 2 weeks to send a contract out. I'm not starting work until that's another good point actually. I tell people we'll agree on a deal, fine, fantastic. If you change your mind, that's fine. It'd be nice of you to tell me, but I don't actually think the deal is done until my solicitors hear from your solicitors. Most people won't have their own solicitors, so explain to them that you can use anybody you want. But if your solicitors take 2 weeks to send a contract out to ours, we've already lost 2 weeks. Yeah? Use these guys. The solicitors we use know them, so they'll actually talk to each other. So most of the time now, we're recommending people use solicitors that our guys get on with. I don't know if you've come across it, but you get some solicitors when you say, oh, are you going to do that? Yeah, that's fine, great, put the phone down. They might mean, yes, I'll do that, I'll pick up my dictaphone, I'll dictate a letter. Get that to me typist, typist off sick for a couple of days, get it typed up, give it back to me. Just put a typing error there, send that back there. 2 weeks later, the letter goes out. If you use the right solicitors, my solicitor, when they say, yeah, we'll get onto that, that means they'll phone the person within the hour. They'll phone them again the next hour. They'll phone them again the next hour. They do an hourly chase on stuff. It can wind other solicitors up because they're not used to that speed. Other solicitors, because they're all flat with my solicitors and we're not taking their calls, and it all gets messy. So by using my guys, use another practice that they're friendly with, the deal works. If you're doing back-to-backs, you'll use a solicitor I recommend to you. You will use another solicitor to buy it for you. You won't need to do any searches on it at all because I'm buying it, so I pay for the searches, so it's cheaper on the legal side doing this. And then you sell to me via my set of solicitors who I know who'll do all the legal. So that's probably going a bit too far, isn't it? Is that? My card's out there on the table. If you want to do those sort of deals, give me a call and I'll talk you through it and how it works. It's clever stuff. Go for bridging, cash or mortgage though, on your first deals anyway. Ensure it happens. Chase everybody. You're going to be chasing your mortgage brokers, your solicitors, letting everybody, yeah? Don't expect anybody to do what they should do. Don't expect the client who's telling you, I've got to complete in 2 weeks. Don't ever expect he's going to phone a solicitor up and say, can you sell your house for me? It sounds ludicrous, but ensure everybody does what they're supposed to do. And I say, when you talk to your solicitor, can you do that? Yeah, great. Understand what you both mean. When do you think you're going to get that done by? Oh, we'll have that done by Tuesday. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I could really get it done for Friday. Is there any chance you get it done for Friday? Oh, go on then, yeah, we can do that. So you know where you stand, so you know you're going to phone them up on Friday to chase, yeah? Again, don't expect anything should happen the way it should. It won't. Problems will come up. I don't think I bought a single house when there hasn't been a last-minute problem. It just happens. Deal with it. You're making 20% on these deals, yeah? A little bit of hassle, a little bit of stress is what you're going to get you your 20%. And that's the big thing. Don't lose focus on this. This stuff is hard work. It's not easy, and you can make mistakes. And it does take time, and it is stressful. But within 2 or 3 weeks, you can make 20,000 quid on a deal. I didn't used to earn that much in my job. Yeah, it's worth it. So, quick summary. preparation, what you need to do beforehand, get the right team in place, how you're actually going to buy the properties, how much time have you got to do. What are motivated sellers? People where the price isn't the only issue. How do you find them? The newspaper ads, I say, come and talk to me if you want to try and use direct mail letters, anything like that. How you attract them? Speed is a big thing most people are after, but let them know what else you can do, such as the renting back. Creating the deal, you're always looking for a win-win deal, yeah? Your reputation, my view is my reputation is the most important asset I've got. People will come back to me, and they do. And how you finance the deal? I say, get a decent mortgage broker, which I need to find and talk to somebody else now, and just push it through. Make sure it happens. Any questions at all?
On the buy to rent, you buy the property then you
Rent it back, yeah.
What happens if the property is like needs so much work doing to it because they're a tenant then and they've got rights? Do you
Yep.
need to go in there, do you, and just put the whole lot right? Or how do you decide
Right.
that?
First of all, to mention on that, if they're housing benefit, if they're going to become housing benefit, they probably won't get housing benefit if they owned the property and sold it. They probably won't be able to get the housing benefit back. Does that make sense? You can't go and be living in a property, having a mortgage, and then go and sell it for 80 grand. You've got however much sitting in your bank account, and then, I'll just go on the dole now and get the council to pay for it. 9 times out of 10, the councils won't go for that at all. Be aware of that. If there's a lot of work, it's really sitting down and talking to somebody. If, say, there's a DIY guy and he's done half the kitchen, are you going to finish off the kitchen? Yeah. Or do you want us to? If you say you're going to finish off the kitchen, put it down in writing, he finishes off the kitchen. And again, when you come to agree the deal with him, let's say it's got 5 grand of works needed to do it. If he's going to do those 5 grand of works himself, yeah, then you don't need to factor that in the deal. If he's going to be moving out, then you've got 5 grand of works you do have to factor into the deal. How comfortable are you that he will do that work, or is he going to move out in 2 months' time and not do any of it? You probably won't because he actually wants to live there, but again, people are going to don't expect people to do what they should do. If someone says they're going to rent it for 10 years, yeah, whatever. 6 months is all I'd go for. I know I'm going to get 6 months out of it. So don't trust anybody, basically. That's probably, if you want to be in property, don't trust anybody. Don't trust any deals anybody shows you. Do your own research on everything, which Simon, nodding away, always do your own research. There's a lot of sharks out there.
Well, you obviously know your area, but are there places you can go to get a sort of good feel about a place and the price of properties and employment or unemployment?
Yeah, you can.
You know what a bad area is in your area. And how can you
How can you find it?
How can you find that?
You can do what I did. To identify our area, we did a lot of research over the internet, first of all, regarding property prices. Is it going to be the capital growth, I think, where most of that is done over the internet. How do you find out if an area is a good area? You go there. You wander the streets. You wander around every street. You go there at night. You go there during the day. You're wandering around constantly. Any for sale board, you should be able to know off the top of your head how much that property's at for. And you should also know what else is sold in that street at what price, not the asking price, what it's sold for.
Does it help now? You can go to sites 3 months ago, you can find out how much those properties are
Yeah,
sold now.
net house prices goes back 5 years or so, even further, I think.
Yeah, I subscribe to somebody updating it 3 months with the prices in my
Right.
area.
Sorry, just one point there. Yeah, most of the websites, nethouseprices.com, are based off land registry information. So by their very nature, they're going to be a couple of months out of date.
Is there anywhere that's more up to date than that, or do you have to?
Yes. If you want to know what a property sold for, if it's been sold, if you phone the estate agents up and say, that number so 5 Primitive Street, how much you sell that for? I'm afraid I can't tell you. Okay. Hi, it's Dave Price from Barton Surveyors. I'm looking for a comparable for a 2-bed terrace on Primitive Street. Have you sold anything around there recently? Oh, yeah, we just actually had a deal agreed at so-and-so. Because the surveyors always used to have to phone the estate agents to get comparables before you had net house prices and this sort of thing. So if you phone up in a confident RC voice and sound like a surveyor, they will tell you. Worked every time. Use the lingo there, yeah? You're after a comparable for a 2-bed semi or whatever. It's not, oh, say that nice blue house on so-and-so street. Though I'm a surveyor and I'm going to go and survey one similar. Yeah, use language. It's in their interest to tell surveyors what stuff is sold for. Because otherwise I'll go and downvalue it and they're not going to be able to sell anything. Yep. Any other questions at all? Yep.
David, I want to ask you, you mentioned you went on where should you invest. If you want to go a bit further afield, you mentioned areas of capital growth. Have you find out information regarding those sort of areas?
Right. It's all going to be a crystal ball. No one is going to be able to tell you the price of anything in the future. Yeah? Any deal anywhere. I remember I sat down a couple of months ago with this very, very switched on guy, and they act as an introducer and introduced my property to some of their clients. And he's like, well, what's your capital growth going to be over the next year? Like, well, what do you want me to tell you? I don't know. I can tell you what it has been over the last year, over the last 5 years. I can tell you all the reasons why I think it's going to be a great grower in the future. I don't know what it's going to be. Nobody does. The things I would look at was what's the average sort of house prices at the moment? What has their growth been? And I'd probably say that would be a negative if something has been growing 20% for the last 5 years. Are those properties underpriced or not? Again, this is what I was saying earlier about the relation of average salaries compared to average house prices, which you can get all this information from upmystreet.com. That's got average salaries for postcodes. I always go for places with below average crime levels and above average employment. Again, all from Up My Street you can find this. Very, very fussy about the areas, yeah. We'll only buy in very good quality areas where there's nothing boarded up, that sort of thing. So you can do a lot of research on the internet, but at the end of the day, it's walking the streets.
And London has a different sort of facility as well, doesn't it? I think because of the demand for properties, it probably works slightly differently.
I don't know, I buy the North.
Quite high crime rate. You still
Right.
would buy in those areas because you could get a good return.
Oh yeah, that's with all of this is what's worked for me. None of this is necessarily right at all. It just seems to work for me. But yeah, you might decide to buy in higher crime rate areas just because virtually all of London is a higher crime rate. Yeah, it's horses for courses. You have to take all of it with know your area.
A bit like your boarded up properties though. I mean, you could look at that area and look at that as being a potential site for growth, capital growth, and that people are going to go along that street and do all those properties up eventually.
You could indeed.
Probably yourself, you know.
Yeah, there's so many different ways of making money in property. Yeah, I do know people who buy those boarded up stuff and leave it boarded up for a couple of years, and it might have gone up in value, it might not. Maybe a bit of a punt. But yeah, if that's your strategy, great. I know guys who will specially buy property in really poor areas because they can buy it cheap. They'll put nasty tenants in there, and if the tenants don't pay the rent or cause any problems, they break their legs. That's the way they work. That's their market. It's not a market I want to be involved in, but works for them.
Going back to Fairy Hill, could that have been a potential, I've lost the term, but a buyout by the council for future development?
Yeah, there are areas where they're regenerating, where they're knocking whole streets of houses down. Most of that's it, yeah, the CPOs. That does happen. Normally, though, if there's a CPO order on the property, the solicitor will know about it when you try and buy it. So this is more just areas that the local dealers know that they can buy for 30 grand and they can sell to some mug for 50 grand who's never going to go and see it. And the surveyors have got a comparable because another bug bought one for 50 grand. That's if the surveyors aren't actually in the pockets of the dealers anyway, which is another issue.
And there's quite a lot of redevelopments around the harbours and the like of the North East. Have you done any speculation investments around there?
Not really, because I'm more of an investor than a gambler. As you say, you can make money loads of different ways in property. I like to buy nice houses in nice areas, put nice tenants in them, and they're going to go up in value. That's my reason. Can I make money in different ways? Yes, I can, probably. But this works for me. If it works, keep on doing more of it, is my personal philosophy. So yeah, I'm sure you could, but it's just not something I've tried. Local authority properties, I don't have an issue with at all, providing they're at the right price. A lot of it depends on your style. I don't actually buy stuff generally that needs a lot of work doing to it. A lot of the properties we buy are in fantastic condition. Some of them we haven't even cleaned before we put a tenant in there. They really are immaculate. We've done, the odd kitchen, the odd bathroom. We don't actually spend much doing stuff up. That seems to me like hard work. If I can just buy it cheaper going in and not have to do any work, rather than someone who buys it normal price and tries to add value to it, it's just my particular style. So yeah, I wouldn't do anything where there's a lot of work required, just because we can make more money negotiating rather than actually having to work for a living, when it comes down to it. But yeah, people have different styles. I know builders will only go in there when something needs completely gutting. One tip on that, actually, we no longer decorate houses once we bought them. We'll buy them, we'll do any work, like putting a new kitchen in, doing a bathroom, and we don't decorate them. Show the tenants around. Oh, we haven't had the decorators around yet. Oh, okay. Actually, would you mind if we moved in if we decorated? I never thought. Give them a little bit of rent money back. They paint the place. Yeah, they get it how they want it. That tenant isn't likely to move out in 6 months' time. Yeah, you can never tell, but you want people who treat these as their home and not just on a 6-month deal. If they want to move into it, obviously we'll paint it. What colour would you like it painted? Yeah, again, it's just adding that little bit of service. We only do it because we spent fortunes completely painted places. Tenant moves in. Actually, I don't really like magnolia. Do you mind if I... So, yeah, just one of those things. You don't always have to have it look absolutely pristine, which is just a different style. Simon would tell you different with the way he rents his properties out, but it's just my market is like that.
In terms of tenants,
Yeah.
when you're actually renting out to the people, do you do a lot of vet? What type of vet? Do you have a stringent vetting?
You haven't heard me speak before at all, have you? We have a massively stringent vetting procedure on tenants. We'll do all the credit checks and all that sort of stuff. If a tenant... So I've got a lettings guy, the guy who works for me full-time, he does all the lettings and the finding of the property. If someone turns up wearing a baseball cap, he will not rent the house to them. Simple as that. Is he wrong doing that? Our experience has been, if you don't like the look of somebody, don't rent it to them. Yeah? And again, when you'll get to know the area, you'll get to know the people, you'll get to know the gossip. Anybody who phones up who just wants to rent a house, well, where are you after? Oh, just anywhere. I don't really want to rent to them. Someone phones up, oh, you've got a house in Greenwell Street. My mum lives in that street. I'd love to rent a property. That's the sort of tenant I want. I want someone who's going to move in there and live there for forever, really. So normally we're looking for a reason why that person wants to rent that house. We'll normally know somebody who knows them if they're local to the area. Yeah, but very fussy. Our view is I prefer an empty property than a property with the wrong tenant in. We have put the wrong tenants in properties and we've lost money for doing it. One thing we noticed, we actually kept most of our rents literally going knocking on the door, cash, which nowadays with standing orders seems very, very archaic. No one can cancel a standing order. Well, so you can cancel a standing order quite easily, but if we're going around knocking on the door, we get the rent. Yeah? And if they're not in, you'll go around tomorrow. And we found that the guys that didn't invite us in for a cup of coffee were all the tenants we had problems with. Yeah? So again, just seeing the properties, being friendly with them, being fair. That's a big thing, be fair with them. And another thing I'd say is look after them. These tenants are your clients, they're paying your mortgage. Yeah? If they've got a water leak, 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, get that bloody water leak sorted out that Sunday afternoon. One, from my perspective, a tenant thinks you're wonderful getting the water leak done. But I actually want to do it to look after my property, that's my investment. If I wait 2 days to get that sorted out, yeah, it's going to cause more damage. I got here just before lunch, Simon nipped out, he was making a phone call, tenant's washing machine's busted. Yeah, running a seminar like this, he's actually already organised for someone to go over there on Monday morning. Yeah, he's in the middle of running a seminar, but he's looking after his tenants. Those tenants will stay with you. We're picking up a lot of tenants now from people who don't look after the properties, just sit in investment and won't spend a penny on them. We had a woman come to us a little while ago, she's got a little baby. Property she's living in at the moment, there's mushrooms growing out the wall, there's complete damp everywhere. You're like, well, haven't you complained to your landlord? Yeah, he just won't do anything. Are you still paying the full rent? Yeah. We've got this fantastic house you might want to see. Yeah? Look after your investment. Don't try and penny pinch on everything. It's your investment. Any other questions? No? Just one thing I would say. It's 5 years ago, I was sitting where you guys were sitting, behind the desk. Yeah? A little bit after that, I gave my day job up. My manager came and asked me, so come on, Dave, what's the secret to this property investing? It's doing it. It's a secret. This course is either going to be quite expensive or very, very cheap for you. Just depends what you do. On that note, yeah.